Hello everyone, it's Miss Angela from the Fort Worth Public Library. Welcome back to another Fort Worth Nature Center Discovery Club story time. Today I am wearing my star shirt because we are talking about stars, but we're not just talking about stars. We're talking about pictures that are made up of groups of stars. Do you know what those are called? They're called constellations. Our song for today is a little bit like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I've changed the words to be more about a group of stars, a constellation, than about one star. So I'm going to do some moves and I'm going to sing it through one time, and then hopefully you can sing a little bit with me the second time. Are you ready? Twinkle, twinkle, all you stars, way past Jupiter, way past Mars. We've grouped you up to help us see, told stories to strengthen our memory. Twinkle, twinkle, way up high, constellations in the sky. All right, you think you can do some of those words? You can definitely do the movements with me. Let's do it again. Twinkle, twinkle, all you stars, way past Jupiter, way past Mars. We've grouped you up to help us see, told stories to strengthen our memory. Twinkle, twinkle, way up high, constellations in the sky. Our story today is an adaptation of the Paiute story of the North Star and the Big Dipper. It's called Nog the North Star. Once upon a time,
when the world was young, there was a sheep named Nog. He was one of the sons of Shanav, the Great Spirit. Nog had 2 brothers, but he himself was the bravest and most daring. Every day, Nog explored the lands of the Great Spirit, bringing back news and information to his brothers and guiding all of the people. His favorite thing to do was climb. He always looked for the highest, steepest, and most challenging mountains. Everyone knew that Nog was the best climber in all the world. His father, the Great Spirit, loved all of the brothers, but he was so proud of Nog that he put large horns on the sides of his head to make him look more dignified and important. One day, Nog found the highest peak he had ever seen. Its sides were steep and smooth, and he couldn't see the top because it was covered in clouds. Nog knew he had to climb to the very top. He had to know what was at the top. He climbed up as far as he could, but he came to a point where he could not climb any further. He went around and around the mountain, looking for a trail or even a jagged spot to put his hoof, but he found nothing. The mountain had steep cliffs all the way around. This was the first mountain that Nog was not able to climb. He thought and thought about what to do. He went around again and again found no foothold. He went back down the mountain and walked around the base. There he found a hole with a tunnel that went down instead of up. Since he hadn't found any other way, Nog went into the tunnel. He found that it soon turned upward, and he was very glad. He climbed up and up through the inside of the mountain. It was very dark, and the tunnel was full of loose rocks that slipped under his hooves. He fell down and scraped his knees many times. Some of the loose rocks fell down the tunnel, and Nog heard behind him loud and terrible noises. He felt scared. He was very tired. He tried to turn around, but he saw that the tunnel behind him had been blocked by all of the rocks falling down behind him. "Well, I have no choice but to keep climbing. I can't be scared. I am Nog," he said, "the bravest and most courageous of the sons of the Great Spirit." And he felt better. After a long, long time, Nog saw a light up above. He was very glad that he did not give up. He went through the end of the tunnel and found that he was on the very tip-top of the very high mountain. "Wow," he said, as he looked at the incredible view from the top of the mountain. He could see everything. He couldn't wait to get home and tell his brothers. He ate a little grass and drank a little water that he found in the cracks at the top of the mountain. When he had rested, Nog looked around for a place to start back down. He knew that he could not go through the tunnel, but the top of the mountain was very steep and there was no place to put his hooves to climb down. The Great Spirit saw that his son was stuck on top of the highest mountain, and he was sad. But he decided that his brave son would not die, but be turned into a star, where he could shine at the top of the mountain he had climbed forever and continue to be a guide for all the living things on earth. His brothers missed him very much, so the Great Spirit made them into stars as well, and they are the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. They are always traveling, surveying the land. But Nog does not move. He stays at the top of his mountain, guiding all of the people. He is the only star that stays in one place, and he is called the North Star, or Kwi Wami Wanuk Putsi.
The end. Now it's time to pass it over to Mr. Michael at the Nature Center to tell you more about constellations. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Happy New Year, everyone. This is Michael Perez at the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge. Welcome you to this year's first edition of Discovery Club. As you know, we haven't been meeting the last few weeks because of the holidays. So it's been wonderful to spend some time with family. Of course, we had Christmas. That's my birthday. That's right. My birthday's on Christmas. So one of our Christmas presents that we got was a new puppy. We're really excited about having Maisie in our lives. So hopefully y'all had a great Christmas and you had time to play with all your new toys and so forth. So now we're in a new year. We have new sets of programs. In fact, Miss Angela and I will be focusing on a topic for a month. For example, the month of January, we're going to be focused on the night sky, if you will. Now, we talked about the night sky before, but we're going to talk a little more in depth about different aspects of the night sky. So today we're going to talk about constellations, and Miss Angela, she's already started with a wonderful story, and we appreciate her and all that she does. So today we're going to talk about constellations. In a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about the moon phases. Now, you just heard me, parents. I just said in a couple of weeks. Usually we did these programs every Friday. We decided to do these twice a month. So we're going to focus on the first and the third Friday of each month. I'll put something on Facebook as an event so you're reminded of it. We didn't do it this month because New Year's fell on the first, so we thought we'd wait and do it the second and the fourth. So that's what we're doing this month of January. Next month in February, we'll start doing that first and third. So a little housekeeping out of the way. I know, boring you little kids right now. Like, why is he talking about schedules right now? Let's just give it the lesson. All right, we'll just give it the lesson. Now, we're going to talk about constellations. That's our theme for today. Now, if you have been around long enough last year with Discovery Club, you notice we always start our Discovery Club with Miss Angela. She has energy and she just gets a story time. She's done a puppet show. She's done songs and motions and so forth. She gets us all riled up and ready for Discovery Club. And Discovery Club is designed for multiple ages, and that usually tends to the younger audiences. And then some of the stuff we talk about, maybe a little older, but still apply to younger audiences, right? We're always going to be learning. But the whole goal for her is to set everything up and give us stories. So when we're talking about constellations, it's kind of like that. Imagine taking you back a long time ago. We zap you back, and you'll go back to a period of time where your parents weren't even born. Believe that, right? And there weren't movie theaters. There weren't necessarily forms of entertainment. So they had to entertain themselves, and one of the ways that they entertained themselves was looking at the night sky. Looking at the night sky and seeing all those stars and how they are, if you will, dots in the sky. And I know you've used connect the dots or participated in little puzzles where you had to connect the dots. I know you do that in school and so forth, to preschool or whatnot. Well, that's what they did in the night sky. All the stars are out, and they had to kind of entertain themselves. And they would connect these dots and then make these stories, these myths up as a way of entertaining each other. And over the course of time, we still have those stories, and that's pretty special. Think about your family. You may have some stories that your parents have told you over the years, or just now telling you, for you older kids in the Discovery Club. And these are stories that are passed down now. I know I have several stories of my family, my parents when they were young, and their parents and so forth, and those are fun. We get to share those. Well, that's what constellations are. We look in the night sky, and that's stories from the past that we get to share with others. We get to, maybe provide our own twist to them. We can even look at the night sky and make different shapes up and make our own stories. Now, how cool will that be? I encourage you tonight or any other night. It's clear. Go out and look in the sky. It's like, oh, that looks like a vulture. I'm looking at the vulture right now. looks like a vulture, and tell a story about the vulture and how it got its name or something. I don't know. Be creative. And the night sky allows us to do that. So that's what's really cool about the stars. You can make these stories, okay, and pass them on and on. And it's entertaining because you can share those stories with each other, just like Miss Angela shares us a story each time for Discovery Club. Isn't that cool connection there? Miss Angela sharing stories, and all the people of the past who looked at the night sky shared stories as well. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about constellations and what they are. So a constellation is basically a collection of stars that form this shape, if you will, that has a story attached to it. So I want to show you some very common constellations. Now, this is a subject matter you want to have your parents involved so they can go outside, maybe dark, be safe with your parents outside. Also, knowing your directions. You may not know where north is. You may know what north is or east is. Perhaps you know which direction is, and if you do, kudos to you. But that being said, your parents can help you navigate. It's like, okay, that's north, that's east, that's west, and that's south, and so forth. So involve your parents, and then get them involved with the storytelling as well and finding the different stars. And this is a great time to do it because in the wintertime, there's two things that are really cool. Number one, it gets dark faster, which some people may not like. But for those who enjoy looking at stars, it's a great time because you don't have to wait up until 9, 10 o'clock at night looking for stars. You can wait, 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. That's not too late. And you get to see some stars. You wait a little bit later as the stars are moving in the sky. You get to see more and different ones. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the winter sky, or the sky during the winter time, it's not as it's clearer. Okay, summertime you get it's just not clear. The air's not right, and it's just not as clear. So it's like looking through a window, like a car window that's got dirt on it. Then you get in there and squeegee it off and wash the window and say, oh wow, I see things now. Same thing with the night sky in the wintertime. It's just the wintertime, this big squeegee comes and cleans up the sky for us, and like, oh, there's the stars, there they are. So it's a great time to do it, and that's why we do it in wintertime and talk about it more so in the wintertime. And also, a third thing I would like to add is there are some very popular or some stars and constellations that are very, very easy to identify, as well as some in summer. But wintertime, there's some really cool ones. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about some of the constellations that you will see in the night sky. Now, the stars I'm about to show you, you can kind of see them more in the eastern sky, okay? So if you're here in Fort Worth, in our Fort Worth area, viewing area, imagine going to your backyard, front yard, wherever you go, and just look as if you're looking towards Dallas, because Dallas is east of us. Think about Dallas. You want a big picture, think about Florida, Disney World, and all those places, right? You're going to look east, okay? And these are the stars you're going to see. So the first and foremost, the more popular one that you will see, it's a constellation he's known as the Hunter, because he likes to hunt. And that one is called Orion. Now, there are more stars that are attached to Orion that I didn't show you because you won't see them around Fort Worth, because there's something what we call light pollution. There's lots of lights. We're a big city, and we have lots of lights. So it kind of blinds out. You can't see the night sky very well. So I just want to focus on the ones you're probably going to see. And most importantly, it's these three right here. You see those three? That's basically Orion's belt, the Hunter's belt. So there are three stars really close together. So you look in the night sky with your parent, look towards Dallas in the east, and you'll see these three stars in a row, boom, 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 that are bright. And that's the belt of Orion. So Orion is a hunter, and around him in the night sky, he actually has two hunting dogs. They're called Canis Major and Canis Minor. So his two hunting dogs, they're usually down below him, especially as it gets later in the night, they come up from the horizon. They wake up and say, oh, it's time to hunt. So you have those dogs. And then also, what does a hunter do? Well, he hunts, right? So around him are some animals. Animals like Lepus. Lepus is a rabbit or a hare. Think about leap. It jumps, Lepus. So that Lepus is a constellation there. Lynx, a bobcat. It's on the other side of Orion as well. So Orion is known as the hunter. And the story of Orion is, he's a hunter. And think about your mom and your dad. Your mom and your dad, they love each other so much. And at one point in time, before you were born, they saw each other, and your mom's like, he's a pretty cute guy. And your dad's like, oh, she's a pretty cute girl, so we should hang out. So they hang out and they get married, and then kids come around, right? Okay. So before the kids come around, they're like, oh, right, you're cute. You're cute. I love you. No, I love you. All this stuff. And they like each other. Well, Orion, he's a hunter, right? But he saw a girl. He thought, oh, she's pretty. She's a pretty girl. But they didn't like him very much. That's kind of sad. Well, they didn't like him very much because they didn't like Orion because he would bring some of the things he would hunt and he'd put them on their doorstep. He didn't bring roses. He didn't bring chocolates. He brought dead animals. To you young boys out there, don't bring dead animals. Don't do that. So anyway, the girls are like, oof, that guy's gross. He leaves dead animals. But Orion I'm going to win their heart. I'm going to win their heart. So I'm going to keep hitting these dead animals. And they're like, dude, okay, no more dead animals. They don't like that. And they finally told and said to Zeus, said, look, we don't like these dead animals. Will you keep him away from us? He's kind of creepy bringing his dead animals. So they said, okay. Oh, let me get a rock here. Sorry about that. So they said, okay, let's keep him away from y'all. So let me show you the 7 sisters real quick. The 7 sisters, I have a little card here, are basically a cluster in the sky. They're so small. It's like if you look in the sky and you if you see them, they're straight in front of you, like in the eastern sky, kind of look to the left a little bit and kind of see them at the side of your eye. Your parents can help you with that. And it's just a little cluster. They're called the 7 sisters, all these little girls, sisters, and then mom and dad. Okay, the 7 sisters. So that's who Orion really liked and brought the dead animals to. But they said, no, this is getting really creepy, so we got to do something about it. So we're going to provide protection for you, the 7 sisters. What we're going to do is, between you and Orion, we're going to put a big old bull. His name's Taurus, and he's going to protect you. If Orion tries to bring some of those dead animals, Taurus is going to huff and puff, and he's going to defend you. So in the night sky, Taurus looks like a V, like horns, his long horns to help protect the 7 sisters. So he's in between Orion. So you have the 3 of them, they're lined up. Okay, so you have Orion, Taurus, and the Pleiades. So they're all together in one little section, and that's the story of Orion, the Pleiades, 7 sisters, and Taurus, the bull. The bull provides that protection. So that's a fun story, kind of a weird story too, different, but that's one of the stories that the night sky tells us. Another constellation I would like to show you. I have 2 of them I want to show you, and then we're gonna wrap this up. It's called Gemini, and Gemini is referred to as the twins. So you have two brothers, if you will. So they had the same mother, but they had a different father. Okay, he had a father. His father was Zeus. Okay, and the other was he had a different father. But Zeus was immortal, so was he. So when his brother passed away, let me just continue. I'll tell you in a minute. He passed away, and he's like, told Zeus, I want to be with him. I miss my brother. So whenever they put him in the night sky, they put them together holding hands. They look like stick figures. Can you draw stick figures? Yeah. So if you can draw stick figures, you can draw Gemini. So it's Pollux, kind of an orangish bright star, and then Castor. they're in the night sky holding hands because they wanted to be together, because they were brothers and didn't want to be separated from each other. Like I love my brothers. I'm sure you have a little brother, older brother. If you do, you love him, even though you pick on him or he picks on you. But that's a different story. It's a story for the night sky. Find one. So anyway, they're holding hands. It's a semblance of brotherly love, twins, if you will, even though they're not, but they're twins in the sense that they were always together playing. And when one of them passed away, he wanted to be with them forever. So they're in the night sky like that. So that's the story of Gemini. Now, there's not just one story. Okay, I've just told you one story. There's all sorts of stories for constellations that are in the night sky. I'm just going to focus on one. And the last story I want to tell you about, another set of constellation that we see. These are more in the northern sky. So again, if you're in the Fort Worth area, imagine looking to Oklahoma or Denton, places like that, depending on where you are in the Fort Worth area. So more in the northern sky. You're going to see this odd shape in the sky. And it basically looks, not odd shape, it's a W. It looks like a W in the sky. And this is the constellation Cassieopeia, or Cassieopeia, however you want to say it. But I say Cassieopeia. Now, Cassieopeia was known as she was the queen. She was a queen of a land called Ethiopia. Not what we refer to as Ethiopia now, but Ethiopia. She was the queen. And she was beautiful. And she knew it, and everybody else knew it. But she liked to brag. And here's a little lesson, side lesson for Discovery Club. It's not good to brag, okay? If you know you're good at something, that's great. Excel at it and keep on getting better. But you don't have to tell others that, hey, I'm better at you. I'm smarter than you. I ride my bike better than you. Or I draw better than you, whatever. We don't have to do that. That's not necessary. Well, Cassieopeia thought it was. And she let everyone know. And her daughter, Andromeda, she even said, my daughter Andromeda is beautiful, more beautiful than anything around. And that really upset some people. They didn't like the bragging. So they went to Poseidon, who was king of the waters and the ocean. And they asked Cassieopeia to take it back. But she wouldn't take it back. She said, no, I am the most beautiful. My daughter is the most beautiful. I'm not taking that back. So eventually what happened, there's a lot of little things that happen in there. Cepheus, who's the king, in the night sky, looks like he's on a throne. It looks like a house, but he's on a throne. And so is Cassieopeia. She's on a throne, royal throne as well. And Cassieopeia, you need to take that back. No, I'm not going to do it. So eventually what happened over time, when they were put into the night sky, they were put so that as at night the stars are moving, they're eventually going to be upside down. That's her punishment. You're going to be upside down in a night sky. Not pretty fun, right? So that's Cassieopeia in the north sky. It looks like a W. And then Cepheus is right next to her. It looks like a house, but it's a throne. So we talked about Cepheus and Cassieopeia. We talked about Gemini. We talked about Orion, the Pleiades, and also Taurus. These are all things that we can see in the night sky and learn from and tell stories about. The last thing I want to point out is if you're looking in the night sky right now, several times throughout the day, you may find, I'm going to turn this a little bit, a bright orangish star. But that's Mars, okay? We can see Mars. Mars is, if you look at Orion, if you're looking at Orion like that, and you go up a little bit, and just to the right, you'll see like an orange star. But the difference between a star and a planet like Mars is Mars doesn't twinkle. You know the star, twinkle, twinkle, little star? Yeah, exactly. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Well, stars twinkle, but planets, they don't. So you'll see a bright orange star, or light, we'll say that. Just above Orion, you're looking at Mars. How cool is that? So I encourage you to navigate through the night sky and look at the different constellations and find out what they are. You wake up in the morning, not a constellation, but you wake up in the morning, you look to the east. Just as it's before the sun rises, you'll see a bright light in the sky. That's Venus. That's the planet Venus. And it looks like a bright star, but it doesn't twinkle. Recently, we've had Jupiter and Saturn together. Actually, Uranus is right next to Mars. You just can't see it so far away. So they're out there, but we just can't see them. You gotta look at through telescopes. I use binoculars. So if your parents have a nice set of binoculars, look at the night sky with the binoculars. That's a good way of doing it. All right, guys. I want to go ahead and conclude our lesson on constellations. Man, I spent a lot of time on this, but I miss you guys. I miss talking to you, and hopefully you miss hearing a little bit about nature and learning about nature stories from Miss Angela. Man, we're glad to be back, and I hope that you tell your friends and parents tell your friends so you can tune in on Friday and check us out and learn a little bit about nature. So that's going to conclude our lesson today. I appreciate you coming back. Happy New Year. We look forward to seeing you throughout the month and the months ahead. So as always, I encourage you to get outside and discover nature for yourself. Until next week, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.